Penguin Random House Audio presents Call to Rise by David O. Brown with Michelle Burford. This is the author, David O. Brown. To my mother, Norma Jean, thank you for sacrificing so much to give me all that matters. Your strength gives me strength every single day. To the fallen heroes of July 7th, 2016, your extraordinary courage will forever live on in the memories of those you served. To my wife, Sidonia, I love you. Chapter 1, The Calling. I never set out to be a cop, but after returning to my hometown during the summer after my sophomore year of college, I was so terrified by what I'd witnessed that it awakened in me a potent determination to intervene. The year was 1982. What was happening in my Dallas neighborhood of Oak Cliff was happening in communities all across the country. A crack epidemic, one more destructive than any drug pandemic before it, was devastating America's inner cities in particular. Crack, a cheap form of cocaine that dealers turn into a smokable crystallized solid, could be measured out in smaller and more affordable quantities to peddle to the poor. But coke's less expensive derivative had an even stronger power to hold users in its grip. Many who used were often willing to do whatever it took to get their next fix, even steal or kill. Many who sold found themselves engaged in turf wars to protect their sales territory. The homicide rate among black men spiked significantly after crack came on the scene. Gun violence became a way of life for those engaged in the trade and for residents who lived in close proximity to drug houses. Before I'd left my hometown to enroll at the University of Texas at Austin, I didn't know a single person who'd been killed. But that summer, 2 years later, a kid on my block was fatally shot in the crossfire of a deal gone sour. Even after I returned to college that fall to begin my junior year, my head and heart stayed back in Oak Cliff. All semester, I'd call home frequently to check on my beloved mother and my younger brother, Kelvin, who was living with her. Every morning and evening in the dark, amid this Armageddon, my mother had to navigate her way to the bus stop for work. I feared so deeply for her that I often waken in the middle of the night and be unable to get back to sleep. I couldn't concentrate on my coursework. Pay close attention to your surroundings. She responded the way she had for all my childhood. I'm just trusting in the Lord, she said. He will protect me. Though I prayed she was right, I felt Him calling me to do something. For me, that desire was intensely personal. Oak Cliff was the community that had made me. It's where I'd shot hoops and formed lifelong friends, the place where I'd found my feet and became grounded in my faith. It's where 3 generations of my family had lived and worked and hoped for better, where my mother had reared 3 sons on only a secretary's salary and a prayer. I couldn't just stand by and watch my family in danger and my hometown destroyed. I had to step up. The way I saw it, the fools who were selling crack in the very neighborhood that had produced us needed to be locked away. They were killing us. Though I soldiered on through my coursework, I'd already made a decision. I would leave school and join the Dallas Police Department. The plague of crack was the main reason I decided to join the force. But there was something else pulling me back to Dallas and into a life of adult responsibility. During my freshman year, I'd started seriously dating a girl I'd met in high school, and in 1982, we got married. A few months later, I discovered we were expecting. So the following spring, once my junior year was complete, we moved back to Oak Cliff and rented a small apartment. Did it bother me to leave college with 1 year to go? It did. I had this nagging sense of a task undone, a goal not met. I'd seen higher education as a passageway out of poverty, a chance for me to make something of myself. In pursuit of that goal, I'd invested countless hours in the library,
poring over my textbooks. I'd work constantly to keep my grades up so I could earn a scholarship. And once I'd enroll in the university, I'd flourish academically and socially and form a new circle of friends. By walking away, I'd be sacrificing all of that. And though it was for a cause I felt I couldn't deny, I still wished I could complete my studies. So I put a plan in place. If I was accepted onto the force, I would transfer to a school in the University of Texas system in Dallas and continue my coursework on the side.
In June 1983, my precious son, David Jr., or DJ, as I affectionately call him, was born. His tiny body nearly fit in my cupped palms. From the moment I first held him, my desire was to give him everything I didn't have as a child, as well as to pass on the strong wisdom and faith my family had instilled in me. Even before I cradled him for the first time, with my afro as full and thick as the Dallas humidity, I loved him unconditionally. Becoming a parent has the ability to alter the very way you love, and so it did for me. I cherished my son not because of anything he would ever be able to offer to me, but simply because he existed. Nothing he could do would change that. On the day he was born, I put on the mantle of fatherhood, shoulders lifted and heart full, ready to nurture and protect, and above all else, provide. That is what being a good father meant to me, providing. As I settled into a routine of diaper changing and bottle feeding, I made plans to apply to the force. My own father didn't like the idea. "Why do you want to be a cop?" he asked me. "There are so many great things you could do with your life. Cops mistreat people in the community." I understood my dad's perspective. He'd come of age at a time when police officers had been the ones to enforce the indignities of segregation. That experience had not only scarred him, it had shaped his worldview. It was only out of concern for me that he voiced his dissent. I'm sure my mother was just as worried, but she didn't try to dissuade me. "You just be careful, son," is all she told me. She could probably sense I was immovable in my resolve. On a clear morning that July, I left my 1-month-old son at home and departed for the municipal building at 106 South Harwood Street, the old police headquarters where Lee Harvey Oswald had been arrested and jailed after he assassinated President John F. Kennedy. There, on the 4th floor, I asked for an application. The secretary, a black woman in her late 30s, looked me up and down. "You aren't likely to be hired," she told me. I suspected she said that because I still looked and acted like the inner city kid I was proud to be. But I didn't care what she thought. "I'm going to be a police officer," I snapped back. She handed me the form. I stood there and filled it out and returned it to her the second I was finished. I left the building that day certain of only one thing: I wouldn't take no for an answer. David, my former college roommate, called me soon after I'd applied. I told him I wasn't planning to return to college in the fall because I was entering the force. "How much do they pay?" he asked. I told him the starting salary was just under $20,000. "Well, I'm moving to Seattle after my senior year," he told me. "What's in Seattle?" I asked. "A company called Microsoft is hiring," he told me. At UT Austin, he'd already proven to be a mathematics and computer whiz. "Why don't you move up there with me?" "Nah, man," I told him. "I've got to stay here in Oak Cliff." "Why do you want to be a police officer?" "Because they're hiring," I told him. "I've got a baby who needs diapers and formula." I'm not sure why I gave him only half of the story. Maybe I assumed he wouldn't understand. But my desire to become a police officer wasn't just a practical solution to my young family's financial needs. There were plenty of jobs out there, plenty of ways to earn a living. The fact is,
I had
Sample complete. Ready to continue?